Hello, this is Veterans News, production of the United Veterans Organization of Nassau County. My name is Ed Allman. I'd like to thank Altice USA for providing the training for our crew and for the use of their studio facilities here in Hauppauge. The show is broadcast on public access channels at a time we hope is convenient for you. We are shown in more places than we knew that had public access TV. You can also catch Veterans News on YouTube. Just go to Veterans News UVO. I want to say hello to our viewers in both Nassau and Suffolk County. Veterans News is now shown in both Nassau and Suffolk counties on Cablevision. We are looking for a co-host, someone who will add a Suffolk County feel to the show. So if you know someone that would like to be a co-host, please let me know. You can email me at veteransnewsuvo@gmail.com. I'd like to thank our crew. On camera 1, we have Jim Hessler. On camera 2, we have Al Zabrowski. On camera 3, we have Loretta DeBrino, and our technical director is Robert Lane. Our floor manager is Beverly Allman. And we have 2 directors. Our regular director is Al Zabrowski, and our guest director today is Pat Gulino. By the way, if you'd like to ask me a question or make any comment about the show, just email me, please, at veteransnewsuvo@gmail.com. Our guests today are Sabrina Lacy, commander of the Suffolk County VFW, and Ed Baulch, director. No, you are deputy commander. Is it deputy?
Senior vice.
Senior vice commander. He's the senior vice commander of the Sunrise Detachment Marine Corps League. We'll talk to our guest in a few minutes, but first let me remind you that some of our veterans who died recently. John McGee of Sayville was a retired colonel from the U.S. Marine Corps. Frank Vollmer of Massapequa, a World War II veteran of the PT boats, the Red Devil Squadron, and a member of both the VFW and the American Legion. Binny Catchem Weinstein. All right, this is a female, was a Navy nurse from Hicksville who served in Guam during World War II. Evelyn, here's another woman. Evelyn Yolanas of Syosset worked as a riveter during World War II at the Grumman Aerospace plant, aircraft plant. She actually wasn't a veteran, just somebody, a Rosie the Riveter, who we certainly remember and appreciate. Paul Skinner of Medford was a proud Navy veteran. Daniel Torpy of New Hyde Park was an Army veteran of the Korean War. Marianne Stroshine of Baldwin was a first lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force and served as a nurse both in Texas and Japan. Clarence Beavers of Huntington was in the 555, the Triple Nickel Parachute Infantry Battalion. He was among the first blacks to pass the World War II paratroopers test. Frank Klepper was a World War II veteran from North Merrick. A corporal, he was a gunner aboard the aircraft carrier USS Cabot when he received a citation and a Purple Heart. Robert Lugio of Babylon was an officer in the U.S. Navy in 1953. He later went on to get his law degree from St. John's University. Jack Permut of Great Neck was a proud Coast Guard veteran of World War II. William Thornwell of East Islip was a proud Navy veteran who served aboard the USS Panamint during World War II. And lastly, Roy Miller of Seacliff was a navigator on the B-17 during World War II that flew 50 missions over Germany. Okay, if you know a veteran who you would like to hear his name mentioned on this part of the show, just contact me, please, at veteransnewsuvo@gmail.com. Okay, that's the end of Veterans News. Now it's the time for our guests. Hello, Sabrina.
Hi.
Eddie, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Ed.
Okay. I don't know which one to start with.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. Sabrina, tell me what you did in the Army.
I did a multitude of different things. I started in 1985. I joined the military and I served overseas in Korea.
Korea.
Yes, I did 1 year in Korea. And then from there I went to Fort Polk, Louisiana. All my entire years of service, I retired in 2005. I've been in combat support units, so I've been out in the jungles most of my time.
Really?
Yes.
You started the service in '85.
Yes.
And you got out of the service in 2005.
Yes.
Was any of that was that all active duty, or was that any reserve time?
Yes, I did probably about 11 years active, and then the rest of reserve time.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We'll get back to you in a second. Ed, what was your military background? Like, I don't know already, but go ahead. Let's just pretend.
Okay. All right. I enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1966. Like all Marines except officers, of course. Parris Island, Camp Lejeune, Ordnance School, the school that they sent me to in Jacksonville, Florida, Aviation Ordnance.
Jacksonville, Florida. They sent you
It was
to
a Navy
Jacksonville?
base. Yes, that's where the school was located. It was located on a Navy base in Jacksonville, Florida.
How far down south is Jacksonville?
It's
Up north?
It's kind of up north of northern Florida, if I'm mistaken. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And then from there, I went to Yuma, Arizona. Then I got my orders to go to Vietnam. I spent a month in Camp Pendleton, 13 months in Vietnam. Came home, spent my last 13 months in the Marine Corps Air Station in Beaufort, South Carolina, and then I was released from active duty in September of 1970.
Very good.
And,
Did you get married while you were in the service?
No. I got married 2 years later after I got out of the service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your wife's name is?
My wife's name is very unusual, very lovely. Her name is Ave Maria.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Ave Maria. That's my wife's
What do
name.
you call her?
Ave.
Ave. All right. All right, Sabrina, how about you? Did you have a civilian job?
Yes. Before I joined the military, I worked down on Wall Street. I worked for the City of New York. I was assistant to the Deputy Commissioner of Housing.
You worked on Wall Street,
Yes.
just on the street of the Wall Street
No, I worked in that area of
in
Wall
the
Street.
area.
Yes.
But you worked for the City of New York.
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do for the city?
I worked as assistant to the Deputy Commissioner in charge of housing.
Okay.
That was back in the day, and I'm going to say 1978, where all the city-owned buildings were not as a prestige as they are now.
Uh-huh.
My responsibility was to acknowledge that some of the difficulties that they were living in at the time, and they weren't paying their rent. So what I would do is resolve all the issues out of court,
Wow.
out of the Supreme Court, and that's what I did for 10 years. And then I joined the military.
What made you join the military after you get out of high school and college? Did you
Yes.
do your college before you went into the military?
Yes, my family, my uncles were all in the military, and they're very, very admirable, honorable men.
Uh-huh.
So we looked up to them, and my father as well. And what happened was my family don't believe in women joining the military, my uncles. So I had to kind of like join on my own accord.
Wow.
And then I joined the military because the City of New York gave me a military leave of absence for 4 years. And I've always wanted to join the military, but they wouldn't allow me to, my family. So then when my job said that I could leave for 4 years, I took it and I left. I didn't tell anybody, I just went.
You left for 4 years, but you stayed active for 20 years?
I left my job, my civilian job, working, and then I stayed in the military, and I completed my 20 years.
Wow.
And I retired in 2005.
Now, I heard you're a nurse.
Yes, retired nurse.
Tell me about the work that you did as a nurse.
In the reserves, I worked in all the hospitals pretty much in New York City, including Manhattan VA, Northport VA,
Really?
Walter Reed, Bellevue Hospital I worked in, Southside, Good Samaritan, and Stony Brook, and I retired through West Point.
Very good. When did you work at Northport?
I worked at Northport probably around, I'm going to say 2000, around 2000, the year 2000.
I'm trying to, you looked familiar when I first saw you. Now I think maybe I knew you when you were working at Northport, because I've been going to Northport for a long time.
I've been going to Northport since 1992 when I came back.
Really?
When I came back from Korea, I had some issues of a high magnitude, and the military acknowledged it, but they weren't aware of all the different stresses that we had, like today. So the Northport has been very fruitful to me.
Really?
Yes, yes. And I know there are several problems that occur there, but that's natural for a hospital to be in existence this long and taking care of thousands of veterans like myself.
How about you, Eddie? Did you ever go to Northport?
Yes, I have. I've had occasion to go over the last few years. Nothing major, thank goodness, but I've had occasion to go. I know my wife is retiring soon, and the health insurance that we have will not be there anymore, so I registered with the VA so that I have the VA as a backup, or go there if God forbid something does happen to me in the future. I know I can always go to the VA, I can always go to Northport.
Right.
And I go to my primary care physician is in the clinic in East Meadow. And I usually go there for physicals and checkups and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sabrina, where have you gone? Have you just gone to Northport, or did you go to the clinic out in Riverhead?
Yes, I've gone to Northport. I had surgery in Northport as well.
Oh.
And I also have gone to the dental clinic there. I used the dental clinic. And I also go to the Bayshore Clinic.
Right.
Which is near my home. And the Northport, I have insurance, pretty good insurance, but the Northport has always been for me a family. And that's how I get to meet some of the people I haven't seen in years. Everyone utilized the Northport at some point. And then someone knows someone. And it's a family kind of connection. But since we started going to the clinic, we don't get to see each other as much. So I hope that Northport realized that was one of the things that a lot of people came to the Northport for, to see one another.
Right.
And we needed that connection. And that's a lot of healing.
Yeah.
When you meet someone you haven't seen for 10 or 15 years.
Wow.
I just met one of my sergeants that were in charge of me about 2 weeks ago. She was at the Northport. And we went and we had lunch, and she paid. So it was very rewarding.
Very good.
And that's what the Northport has always been about. And if we can get back to that, I think we can have the best VA hospital in the nation.
Very good. Do you know Joe Sledge?
Very well.
Very well.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, Joe was the in charge of public affairs. Now I think he just got kicked upstairs to a little another position. Oh, very good. Ed, talk to me about the Marine Corps League.
Okay, the Marine Corps League, some people don't understand. I guess you could call it a elitist organization because, as you know, Ed, it's only open for Marines and corpsmen who serve with the Marines. We are there to help in the community, but our first commitment, I guess, is to active duty Marines. We try to spend a lot of time helping out and working with the Marines in Garden City, which is the area where they have the active duty Marines. The 1st District is what takes care of recruiting for the northeast portion of the United States, and there's also a reserve unit there. I think it's, help me out, it's 2-5, right?
I think it is.
Yeah, 2nd Battalion, 5th Regiment.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I believe that's what it is there. And they have their headquarters there also. That's basically what we try to do, You
have meetings twice a month?
Yes, we have meetings twice a month, the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of every month. That's our detachment. I don't know if all the other detachments around have the same schedule of meetings, but that's our schedule of meetings. And we're usually open every Friday night for our members and their guests to come down and have some camaraderie. And
Where are you located?
we are located at 99 New York Boulevard in Massapequa, right off of Hicksville Road. We were always looking for new recruits, new younger blood, Marines and corpsmen. Like I said, corpsmen, if you served with the Marines, corpsmen are welcome also.
So to join, you just have to bring a DD-214 to a meeting?
Yes, you just bring your DD-214 to the meeting and we will sign you up. Like I said, our organization is not as large as, obviously, as the VFWs and the American Legions, because we're limited to only Marines are allowed to join. But the American Legion, VFWs, the MVets, all the other organizations, all the veterans of all branches of the service can join those organizations. So we're kind of a little smaller than all the other large organizations.
You're not really that small. I've been to a lot of VFW and American Legion meetings, and you get about 25 at a meeting.
Well,
and that's about how many.
Well, you're right,
get.
Ed. I mean, you know as well as I. We're both members of the same VFW
Right.
and American Legion in Syosset.
Right.
And, but the members are getting older. Sabrina was saying that she has a lot of good members in her post of younger veterans that are just coming home. We're having a tough time. A lot of
Right.
areas are having a tough time drawing new members, young members, to
Right.
join the organizations. If you're out there listening, you're all welcome to all of the organizations.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I understand all the veterans out there listening. They're not all Marines. They could be Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard. These organizations are there, and we'll welcome you with open arms.
Okay. Your headquarters is 99 Iwo Jima Boulevard, or New York Avenue?
Right, yes, 99. It's double named. It's New York
Okay.
Avenue. If you're looking for it on the GPS, you got to put New York Avenue in.
Right.
Because it's not going to come up if you put in Iwo Jima Boulevard.
Okay. And you have 2 meetings a month. They're
Correct.
on Tuesday?
The first and third Wednesdays of the month.
First and third
At 8
Wednesday of the
o'clock.
month.
At
8 o'clock.
Yes,
Okay. And if they just have to show up with the DD-214 and they can join.
that's it.
Okay.
You have to bring your DD-214 to prove you say who you are.
All right.
that
Oh, and
tomorrow?
also you got to pay your dues.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah,
Also, your club is open on Friday nights.
correct.
And
We're open
it
on
does
Friday
a great
night.
job.
And we also,
Yes.
just like mostly all the other posts on the island, we're open for rentals for,
Right.
for people to rent for birthday parties,
Mm-hmm.
christenings, whatever your occasion might
Okay.
be, and I have to say that the prices are reasonable.
Okay. Sabrina,
Yes.
you're both the Suffolk County Commander of the VFW, and you're the commander of the Brentwood Post.
Yes.
I understand your post has many young members, 38 years old. How did you do that? How did you get young veterans to join your organization?
I went out and asked. I have a daughter my daughter is like 28 years old. So I asked her, I said, why these young people do not want to join our facility? What is it with us? I'm young. I'm ready to party. I'm ready to dance. I could teach. And she says, Ma, don't do that again. I said, okay. So what I did was I looked and I did a survey. I went back to school. I went to St. Joseph College. And I joined the college, and I sat in the college, and I listened to the young people, and I asked them, why aren't you conversing, and why are you being disrespectful to the older people, and why are you not doing the honorable thing that we did in the past? And they told me that the ideology has changed. That don't mean that they're being mean. They have a different way of looking at things. And we as adults, myself included, do not want to do one thing: listen. Listen. So I listened. I sat there and I listened. I didn't tell about all the honorable things that I've done all my life. I listened to them. And when I listened to them, that's when I started to be able to communicate with them. And then they came down to the post and they joined, and then they went to do certain things. We had wrestling.
You had wrestling?
Wrestling.
Wrestling.
The whole hall was put open to have the people come down there wrestling. That's what the young guys like to do. So we did that. Then they wanted to do rap, and they wanted to use some derogatory words that wasn't clear to my ears.
Yeah.
But I sat there and I swallowed and I tolerated. And then as one thing went on, I was like, this is not bad. Then I started rapping. And then I started engaging in what they were doing. And I learned a lot about them. And then they invited some of their friends, and their friends come down and whatever they want to do. So what I decided to do with the members of my post, we had a meeting, and there's 7 days in a week. Everyone is not going to get along. So you have one day for each group of people. So we have Senior Citizens Day, we have the Young Rapping Day, and we have different things where we have ministry. I'm a minister, so I teach people how to become chaplains, and that's the area where I like to stay. Mm-hmm. And then you have other people that want to drink and whatever else they want to do, watch football or what's that, basketball and baseball?
Yeah.
So, section for that. And then we have the ladies, I call them mature women. They like to paint, so we had paint night and wine night.
Wow.
So what I'm doing is different people like to do different things, and I think that's what's going to attract everybody. We have to be open, and we have to be less judgmental, and then you can attract a lot of the young ones. And right now, they're ready to come down. They want to clean. They want to do things.
And
they
these
want
are
to
your
change
veterans.
things. They're veterans. Veterans and veterans' family and friends, but mostly veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we changed everything over. The only problem that we have in at our facility now is upgrading it and remodeling it. So we're trying to raise funds for that.
Right.
The young guys that are coming through are family oriented. So you have to accommodate not only the veteran, but the veteran wife and the kids. So we have a section for the kids, section for the wife, and a section for the veteran. And that's
Very
how we
good.
attract them.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working. And one of the things that inspired me was my national commander, Harmon, when I went to the national convention, and he spoke. Very powerful speaker. And when I heard the speech that was coming out of his mouth, and he has to be about 77 years old. Radiant, we need a movement. We need to inspire, and that's what we need. We don't need the same old stuff. We need something that's innovative, because that's what's going to attract and keep the people moving and doing things. With the veterans of foreign war, most of the members are older. Most of the members are sick or ill. So we don't have the same capacity to do the same things we used to do. So the culture of the whole VFW have changed. It's not like it used to be. A lot of our guys are recovering for whatever they may recover from, alcohol or drugs. Mm-hmm. So they're not interested in drinking as much or at all.
Right.
So we have dry bar day where we take care of them as well. We open it up to different organizations. We have the Beacon House,
Right.
United Way. We try to attract like Red, White, and Blue. We try to engage with the Iraqi Veteran Organization. And when you sent me the letter to me, you have all those different organizations. I didn't even know they exist. So that's called awareness. So thank you for that. So now I know that there's other organizations that we can engage with.
Oh, sure.
And Suffolk County and Nassau County, we have a big array of veterans. All right? And we all need to realize that the most important thing that we need to focus on is each other. Instead of trying to do or outdo an organization, I do this better, master one area. So with the VFW Suffolk, we have one post that does art, and they master art. They're doing art from here to New York City. We have one post that's doing comedy.
Wait a minute. You have one post that does art from here to New York City? What do you mean by that?
That means that the veterans come, they'll teach them how to do art, and then they'll take their art to New York City in different places.
Okay.
And in the facility, they would post the art, and they have art classes, and they have art showing of their art. That's for people who like to do art, veterans-wise. If you have someone who likes to do comedy, you heard about our comedy. We have the comedy post,
Project 9,
Project 9.
they do
Gotcha.
comedy.
Yep, they do comedy.
I had that director, what's his name? He was on my show a year ago from Project 9.
Yeah,
What's his name? Trying to think of his name. Oh,
and him and his post. It's the post.
right.
It's the members getting together for a common goal, but also veterans who are not interested in that particular area, come over to us and enjoy us when we're doing our paint night, or come to the Marine if you have something that's going. And a forum like this will have a posting of the different events that we have, and then we can go engage where we want to go engage at. That don't
Yeah.
mean that we turn in our backs. That means that we are enjoying each other's space, and that's what we need to do. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And the VFW for Suffolk County, I try to instill that every time we have a meeting. We have a meeting once a month. And I try to let them know that today I stand here before you, but tomorrow I may not be here. Just because I'm 40.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. I knew your age. I'm not talking about
That
it.
don't mean that I may not be here tomorrow. It does not matter what your age or your position or your disposition is. As a veteran, I believe that the nation is right next to us, and we need to engulf that because it wasn't always like that. Am I correct?
Yeah.
When you came back, right?
Oh, especially when we came back, definitely. We were, to say the nation was divided was an understatement, I
Yeah.
guess, you know.
Yeah.
Although I personally didn't run into some of the, what's the correct word, degradations.
Yeah,
of
the VFW and the
to a
American
certain
Legion
degree.
were a little bit cold to us.
Well,
when
not
we
only
first
that,
got
but I
out.
mean, you know, what was happening to some of the guys when they were coming home, they were being called
But
Yeah.
not too nice things and
Yeah.
being spit on and everything else.
I saw it.
Uh,
Something
you
on
know.
television just last night. It was a TV show from the early '60s, and there was some character in it died, and the American Legion. They said the American Legion is going to show up to take care of the casket, and I could not believe it. See the difference between the American Legion today and as it was in the '60s. In the '60s, it was a line of men, all wearing hats and all dressed well, and it seemed like amazing. It's changed so much.
Well, unfortunately, most of those men you saw in that
I know.
image, they're probably passed away by
That's it.
now. They were
Yeah.
probably all World War II vets.
Yes,
You know,
young World War II
young
vets.
now they're, you know, now the young veterans are the Iraqi, Afghanistan, Operation Desert Storm. You know, those are the young veterans now.
Yeah.
And I know that, you know, but Suffolk County, I believe, has a, well, let's put it this way. Land mass wise, Suffolk County is what, 3 times the size of Nassau County? And you probably have 3 times the population and 3 times the amount of veterans in Suffolk County that we have in Nassau County.
yes,
Well-
we have the third. Some people say the second largest in the nation, but some others say third
Yeah.
largest in the nation. However, we the VFW also, a lot of our members are American Legions
We
and the
have to
Marine
go.
Corps. We all
I'm
go.
sorry.
Yes.
Sabrina, you were fantastic. So were
Thank
you,
you.
Eddie.
Thank you.
I
Thank
hope
you.
to see you again soon on this show and on other places. Thank you very much, both of you. I wonder if we have time for the crew to come out. Do we have time to get? No? Look at this. All the hands are going no. All right. Hope I see you again next week. Next month. The show is shown every Monday and every Friday on Cablevision, and I hope to see you on YouTube. Don't forget to look for YouTube. Okay.